If you're following along at home, you shouldn't be watching this video. I'm not a trained mechanic. I'm just an idiot. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a bold bloke wearing a woolly hat in a shed. What are you doing with your life? That's my question to you. What the hell are you doing with your life? Sat here watching me on your evenings. You're sad, mate. Get out there. But if you are following along at home, so here we are in my very small shed in the bottom of my garden of my terraced home with my pick for our budget bike series. It's the only pick. It is a Suzuki GSXR 600, the S-Rad model, and it's a bike. It really is. It really is something. I've had this a number of years now. I bought this first, Christ, probably 5 years ago. No, probably even longer than that, probably 8 years ago. Ripped around on it in my local towns, and then I left it for years. And it's basically a barn find. It has had very little done to it in those years. And I abused it when I had it. I blew up the gearbox after fitting one of those Heel-Tech quick shifters. I never let it warm up. I never really did many oil and filter changes on it. Although I did do some, but I didn't do as many as I should have done. And it was abused. I paid £800 for this back in the day. I have done a few modifications to it. Nothing crazy, but I did do a few. Keeping in line with the budget, it's still under £1,000. I certainly wouldn't ask £1,000 for this in its current state. So that's how I'm justifying my bike and saving a bit of the old wonga. And to be honest, it's been sitting down here doing nothing. So it's time to do something with it. Now, this is going to be a workshop episode. We are going to be doing some work on it. I do have a number of things I need to do. So let's cut over and I'll show you what we have planned for today. Okay, we have our workbench. We're not fitting this to the bike. This is a tablet. We're not going to do that. But what we are doing... Oh, look, my bloody lights have fallen down. Honestly, this has started well, hasn't it? I only put these up yesterday. I knew the adhesive wouldn't work. Okay, we are doing chain and sprockets. A must-have modification for any bike that's never had them. I've never done the chain and sprockets on this bike. It's done 33,000 miles. With me on it for 10,000 of those, and I've never done chain and sprockets. But I'm going to get some gloves on. Guys, if you work on your stuff... wear gloves. It's cheap insurance for your hands, and trust me, even my hands now are a little bit manked up. You like that sound? You're at the gyno again, and I'm here to inspect your anus. Anyway, I know gynecologists don't do that. It's not let a little fact like that get in the way of a good story, though, eh? There we go. So, because of the nature of what we're going to be using this bike for, I'm going for a 520 pitch chain conversion. The benefits of 520 over 525 is just it's a little bit lighter. So standard, the bike is set up with a 46-16, so 46 sprocket at the rear, 16 sprocket at the front. I'm going for a 14-47. That is going to be quite short geared, and I'm very aware of that. This is not the fastest bike. It's not slow, that's not the right term, but it isn't very fast. And I think it's really important that we get the drive at the back end of the corners. And this is the way of doing it cheaply. I've also gone for a DID chain. There you go, you can see that there. This chain is very much overkill. It's 500 to 1200 cc. It's a good quality chain, really good quality chain. I use this on my Super Duke. It's been absolutely great. Fully recommend them. But this was the same price as their cheaper options for unknown reasons. So I went for one of those. But that isn't the first job we're going to be doing today, because there are some other things we need to do. So the first thing I want to do is do the wheel bearings. Now, I did notice when I was changing the rear sprocket that the wheel bearings that were on the bike were a little bit tight. Given what we're going to be doing, I've decided to spend the £35 and buy some wheel bearings. So I've already popped the original ones out. The original bearings, to get them out, I literally use a drift and a hammer, and I smash them out. Don't miss. But it doesn't matter, because the original bearings are duff anyway. That's why you're replacing them. I wouldn't take them out, check them and put them back in. So that's how I remove them. Everyone's going to have their own way of doing it. I'm not a mechanic, I'm a moron. That's how I did it. Let me show you how I'm going to put the new ones in. I've got a bit of a trick for it, which I've not actually done before. So if this doesn't work, I'll cut this bit out. If this trick doesn't work, I'll say I've got no idea how to install these, and I'll beat them in with a hammer again. You shouldn't do that, but we may. Let me set up the camera, I'll get the bearings, and I'll show you how we're going to install them. Little tip, something I like to do is I'll go to this website. It's Bike Park Suzuki. They do it for every manufacturer, KTM, whatever. And it's for buying bike parts. But what you can do is you can go in here and you can see all of the diagrams with the part numbers. That's often what I use it for. So rear wheel, it's an X-Reg, we'll go on that one. And you can go down and you can literally see what we're doing. So we know that there's bearings in here. Would you believe it? So we're going to be replacing number 3, number 4, I don't even know if you can see this, and number 15. So let me go get the bearings. The little trick I'm going to try is I've tried to freeze the bearings in order to shrink them. There they are, they're down here, look. Look at them. So we'll grab those out. I froze the seals as well, I don't really know why I did that. But yeah. Here's the bearing. As you can see, it's cold. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat up the inside where the bearing is going to sit with a heat gun, and hopefully that'll expand enough so I can just drop that cold bearing in. Let's give it a go. Okay. I'm going to try and do this one-handed, I think. Right, so bearing, cold. Right, so now what we've got to do is we've got to get this heat gun, a Wagner, and we're going to heat up the inside of that lip there where the bearing's going to sit. This might take a bit of time. This is a new heat gun for me. Look at that, it's hot. Oh, it stinks. Oh my god, that smells bad. Wow. Now what I should probably do is take those rubbers out of there so I don't damage them. I'm not going to, but as long as we all know I should have done that, I think we're okay. I have actually got a heat temperature gauge. I'll just leave that in there whilst I find it. Where's my temperature gauge? This is the thing, I can never find anything. I've just cleaned in here. Christ alive. Oh, I tell you what it is, it's in that blue pot. Oh, the blue pot's in here, isn't it? Hold on, caller. I found it. Now, I don't know what sort of temperature you want this to get up to, really. A couple 100 degrees, I'd say. At a guess, at a complete guess. What's it at now? 28. Right, so we want it a little bit warmer than that. Oh, it's a fair bit of smoke coming off this thing. What is smoking? I don't know if you can see the smoke on camera, but there's a fair amount of it. What is smoking? This is probably what we're going to use. Hopefully we don't have to hit it loads, that'll be great. So, how's your evenings going? Hope they're good. I don't know if you can see that sort of smoke on camera. I'm not really sure what's smoking. Is the rubber hot? Is the rubber hot like that? Oh yeah, it is, yeah. Okay, we're giving it a go. We're giving it a go like that because everything's starting to smoulder. Okay, there we go. This is what we're working on. Remember, everyone? Stay focused. That isn't too bad. Needs a lot more heating. Oh, I'm such a mong. Don't want to fuck these bearings up now, do we? There is other ways of doing this, which we may encounter if we're not careful. I don't know if these rubbers need replacing, actually, looking at them, because they have got some gouges in them there. We'll have to assess that. According to this, that's only 40 degrees. Don't know how much I believe that. So what I have got is a drift of sorts. Something to gently tap them in with. This is some hardened steel. In an ideal world, you'd use brass or something that's not going to damage the bearing, but we're not going to hit the bearing itself. What we'll do is we'll hit the outer ring here. If anyone's watching this for tips, I don't know what to tell you, mate. It's your own fault, really, isn't it? Hello. Cool, perfect. So that's that first one in. Now, obviously, in an ideal world, you wouldn't tap them in, you'd press them in. I don't have a press. In an ideal world, you wouldn't use... The hammer has no place next to bearings. And that is totally correct. You should not use a hammer near bearings. Having said that, we're in a little shed without much kit. And we're doing what we can. These bearings are going to be better than what they were originally. So I know that between these two bearings sits a little sleeve, a dirty little sleeve, which is this little number. Now, we have two different size bearings. Which are the smaller ones are these? I didn't actually check to see. Right, my silence then was I panicked because I think they sent me the wrong ones, but I don't think they did. Cool, so we got the next bearing. I'm going to heat this one a little bit more before I go ahead and stick it in. So frozen bearing again, we'll leave that on something metal. This is the little sleeve that the axle then goes through. I have no idea if this calls for a little bit of grease, but I'm going to give it a little bit of grease. We'll give it a little bit of high temperature, just in case smacking those bearings did do any damage. It gets really hot, won't all run out the side. Now, that surface there shouldn't ever contact the middle bit, but I've accidentally put it on there. See, that now pops down there, like that. I swear that was flush last time. That's interesting. Oh no, there is a little lip. Everything's fine, guys. There's no need to worry about anything. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat up this side, but I'm going to heat this side up a little bit more. So I'll pull out my little sleeve again, and I'm going to make sure this side gets a bit warmer. On this side, I don't need to worry about the rubbers, so I'm happy to get it a bit warmer. I wish this would have some sort of stand. So it would, oh, there we go. Sort of. The other things that I want to look at on this bike really before taking it to track, I will show you a bit more in detail. I mean, I'll get the camera up close and we can have a look at some of the atrocities on it. Atrocities? But there are a few things that need to be done before the track, and there's a few nice things that I'd like to do before the track. So we'll go over all of those, and obviously I'll take you on the whole journey. This bike does have some issues that I won't fix before the track. Budget constraints, time, can't be bothered. But there are some things I'll have to change. This rear brake disc might be one of them. It's looking a bit worse for wear. I don't know if you can see that. It's very liney. Oh, that's quite warm, weirdly enough. So I'll touch back with you shortly once I've got this to a reasonable temperature. Okay, as you may be able to tell by how much smoke there is now, I've got this to a reasonable temperature. I think that's hot enough. There we go. So now, don't remember to put the little stick in there. Stick? What the hell I'm on about? Now, we open up our new bearing, which has been in the freezer. Have the writing on the outside of the bearing I'm talking about. So there's actually numbers around the outside of the bearing there, on the outer ring. I want that on the outside. Then that's just going to drop in there. It's just going to drop in. Just watch it drop in. Actually, to be fair, that did it. Nice. So that is now in. Both sides. Right. Let's move this out of the way. Let's bring this bad boy in. This is the sprocket carrier. So the sprocket sits on there like that. Oh, I can just show you, can't I? There you go. I can actually check it fits. Right, for a minute then I didn't think it did. Right, the sprocket sits on there like that. We're not going to put that on just yet because first we want to put on the bearing. And the bearing sits in that face. That looks nothing like my bike, interestingly. It's not, I'm not concerned about it, but it doesn't. Oh, does this fit in between the two? Probably. It's probably that little number. Does that then... Oh, that goes in there, does it? So it does. Sorry, just verifying. So this bearing goes in there, but not until it's heated. Now, with this one, I am going to be going slightly less crazy on the temperature than I would with a wheel bearing, because it is aluminium, or aluminum to our friends across the pond. There we are. And probably even get it a little bit closer. The other thing I'm probably going to do is burn a hole in my lovely table, but that's fine. It's the least of our worries. So obviously the whole reason why we're doing all this work is because we want to go to a track day. Now the bearings that were in the wheels weren't amazing, so I bought front and rear wheel bearings. On bikes like this, it's very little money. It was £35 for front and rear. So in my opinion, it's not worth messing about. Might as well just do them. I was in here anyway for the sprockets. So I would say we're getting very close now to the temperature I want it to be at. It's a good little heat gun. It's a new heat gun. And it does its job well. So I'll grab the bearing out of its pack. And we'll give it a go at that temperature. Now hopefully this will just drop in, but we'll see. There you go. And that is how you install a bearing. Now obviously, oh no, has anyone noticed my slight mistake there? What a shame that is. And already look, I can't take that out. So what will happen is, as it cools, it's still a bit hot to handle. As it cools, this metal, the surrounding area that I've heated up, will contract. And as this bearing heats up, because this has obviously been in the freezer, that will expand. So that's the basic premise there. That's really annoying, actually. Can I clean that off with anything? Take this heat gun out. This heat gun's got quite a cool feature. You can stand it up. It's a very strong engine degreaser. Oh look, it's actually smoking. Yes, that'll come off. Oh, just ignore that smoke there. That probably won't come off. See that? It's not on fire, don't worry. Whilst that acclimatises, shall we say, let me show you a few things. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open that up and let a little bit of air in this shed. There we go. So here she is. It's in reasonable condition. It's had the old AliExpress lever jobby, but full size. None of that stubby stuff here. Now, we have our master cylinder, which is an Sato, which isn't a bad brand, but this one in particular is not very nice. Well, let's cut those off and see how that's faring now. Even in my own shed, I don't get the drawers right. So we'll cut that one. That one. And what you do is you just let them fall on the floor. Let's have a little feel. So that's actually a lot better than it was. I've got no faith in this master cylinder whatsoever. I feel like it tends to weep a little bit from the banjo. I can't see any there at the moment, but I do feel like it doesn't pressurise very well. Can't see any leaking. But it doesn't help, I've got a cheap switch on it in order to get some rear brake action going. So as we can see, the bike is done. I don't know if you can see that actually. If I turn the lights on, you'll be able to. Hold on, caller. Okay, no you can't. I thought that lit up. It's done 32,000 miles. Whether you can see that or not, I don't know. So it's had a, not a rough life, but a long life, we'll say. Yeah, it does run. I'm not going to start it now. In terms of engine, I've already done the valve clearances on it. I'm relatively happy with that. They were a little bit out, but nothing crazy. I've done them recently, before that. It's running Motul 300V. It has a stubby Aprokovich can, which will not be able to stay on for track because it's too loud. And it does have, if you can spy it there, some Öhlins action. And I'll show you that actually on this side as well. In there, that is an Öhlins rear shock, not that you can see it. So it does have some trick bits on it. The forks have been resprung, got K-Tech springs in them, and they've had all their internals done and everything, in terms of bushes and seals, I mean. The front discs are Brembo Series Oros, so they're decent discs, and I think pad-wise, I think to be honest, I used cheap pads. I think they're only EBCs, but they'll be fine. This here, this little number, I know it says Öhlins on it, it's not, it's a Sprint damper, so a bit of steer and damper action. Do you need one on a 600? Probably not, but it was on there when I bought it, so we'll leave it on, there's no point taking it off. I'm going to fit a racing fuel cap, and the reason why I'm going to do that is because this little fuel cap here tends to just flap around like a nun's, yeah. I've also fitted this rather fetching rear cushion, which actually is really nice to sort of stick your arse into. Nothing weird there. That's the machine that will hopefully be taken on the track. Well, not hopefully, we are taking on the track, so whether it makes it or not, yeah, different story. Right, that bearing is looking and feeling good. This is still rather warm to the touch, but we can continue to some extent. Now, make sure that's seated. I'll show you what I'm doing. So all I'm doing is I'm looking in there just to see if it's seated all the way around. So on the side with the disc, we're going to have one of the seals. Now I'm pretty sure, let me not rest my tablet on that really hot thing. Yeah, so it'll be one of these seals, probably the smaller one. And then it looks like that one goes in there. So one seal is going to sit in there like that, and this one is going to go on the side with the disc. And this is going to be the last opportunity, if we need to adjust anything in terms of its bearing position. But I think I'm quite happy with where it is. There we go. I'm going to give it a little tap just to make sure it's actually seated. To be fair, there we go. That feels nice and day better than it did. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to put this portion back in. Drop that first. Oh, it's still a little bit warm, but it's nothing. Actually, you can handle it now. There you go. So that's that on. Okay, so we got the sprocket carrier back on the wheel. So now we're going to fit the sprocket. Sprocket install. Now, these nuts, as far as I'm aware, are single use. I don't think you're meant to, I'll show you them. I don't think you're meant to take them out, reuse them a load, and then put them back in again. They've got those little metal locking ones. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of Loctite on them. And I'm not saying you should do this at home, but I get quite anxious about stuff like this. Where the hell is my Loctite? I do tend to get a tiny little bit anxious. And when I'm going down the back straight of Castle Combe, I know that I'll be thinking, oh, did I do those sprocket bolts up? Are those nuts going to hold? It's not really worth thinking about. So I will put the tiniest amount of Loctite, red Loctite on that you'll ever see, just to keep myself sane. And then I'll also mark them with a paint pen, so that I know if they do turn. Appreciate you might not be able to see everything I'm doing right now. But don't worry, I can't either. So, it makes two of us. That's you. That's me and the one person watching. Thanks for watching, by the way, friend. Subscribe down below. Leave a comment. Share your opinions on the work I've done today. Is it shit? Okay. Sprocket. We're going to put this on the bike. So it goes brum brum and it translates that power to the wheels. Fair amount. I've got a friend actually talking about doing the plop enduro, is it? And that seems like a right laugh. So if tractors is something I get into and want to do semi-regularly, I think I'll get a different bike. But if I do keep with this, I think what I'll need to do is change these wheels, because these wheels are massively heavy. Massively heavy. I'm talking like big boy shit. Great. Why is that stuck? Right, so this one here, this tiny little torque wrench, this Sealy, this will only go to 25, so let's start with that. Always let your torque wrenches off after you torque. Keeps them more accurate for longer. I don't even know if that's true. Just always done it. Perfect. Okay. So now all we've got left to do really is give these spacers a little clean off. These ones that sit inside the wheel. Again, these have all been cleaned in the ultrasonic, but they've still got a little bit of shuts on them. You can see that one. You can see on that camera has got some lines on it, some wear lines. Now, the bearings certainly didn't help with that, because I don't think the bearings were spinning at certain points, and this was being forced to. I am going to just mark these with a little line, just so I know at a brief check. Oh, that one's moved. Oh, that one's all good. It's just a me thing. I think realistically the best way of doing it is probably lock wire, but so I'm going to give that a little cleaner-oo with, you guessed it, a bit of brake cleaner, because it's my most favourite stuff ever. And a dirty little brush. Lovely. That'll do. Nearly wiped out my trousers then, don't know why. Grab the wheel with its new sprockets. Pop that back in there. You want to be sort of berthing it. That's the sort of thing I'd recommend you do. There we go. Then there's a really good technique. You just sort of... Now this does take practice. You can't just come in here and do this sort of stuff. But a bit of that's all in the wrist. Bit of that. Bit of this, bit of that. Sorry. That's probably a bit far. Okay, now... get that lined up where I know it's going to have to go. Okay, now, this is where it all starts to get really fun, really quickly. So there you go, so it's all gone wrong immediately. So you pick that up, and that's all lubed and greasy. Pick that up, you put that through there. Through she goes. What you doing, girl? Come on, have some of that. Have some of that, you fucking slag. There you go. You've got to turn it a little bit, which you can't do. Okay, so before, it didn't spin, even with the wheel loose, so we've improved things. So the next job is going to be front sprocket and chain.